She's not ignoring you. She's watching you disappear. She left your message on read. Again. You told yourself not to care, but it still stings, doesn't it? Now here's the twist. What if I told you the key to making any woman miss you? Yes, even the one who's ignoring you isn't to try harder, but to pull back? Sounds insane, right? Keep watching, because by the end of this video, not only will you understand the psychology behind why women start craving the men they once overlooked, but you'll also learn exactly what to do next to flip the dynamic in your favor. This isn't manipulation. This is Stoic attraction. And once you master it, everything changes. She's not ignoring you. She's testing who you'll become. Think about that for a second. She hasn't replied in days. You've checked your phone more times than you want to admit. That sinking feeling in your chest? Yeah, we've all felt it. You go over the last conversation in your head, line by line, wondering, did I say something wrong? Did I come on too strong? Did I not say enough? That silence is loud. And here's the part nobody talks about. Most men panic. They send another message. They try harder. They overcompensate. They chase. But chasing never works. In fact, it's the fastest way to become invisible, because here's the truth no one tells you. It's not your job to convince her to feel something. It's your job to become someone she can't ignore. And that doesn't happen through words. It happens through presence, stillness, mystery. Right now, you're probably thinking, but if I don't reach out, won't she forget about me? That's the trap. That's what average men believe. And that belief, it's exactly why she doesn't miss you right now. But if you flip that mindset, if you stop chasing, stop explaining, you unlock something powerful, something primal, something she won't be able to forget even if she tries. Because here's what happens when you walk away quietly. Without drama or desperation, she starts wondering, noticing, missing. Why hasn't he reached out? Did he lose interest? Is he seeing someone else? And just like that, you live rent-free in her mind. You see, most men think making a woman miss you is about tactics, texting tricks, waiting 3 days, playing games. But that's surface-level nonsense. What actually works is deeper. It's about being the man who is completely at peace walking away. Because the man who doesn't flinch when she pulls back, that's the man she remembers at 2 a.m. That's the man she starts craving. You want her to miss you? Then become someone worthy of being missed. Not by trying to prove your worth to her, but by proving it to yourself first. And here's the best part. You don't need to fake anything. You don't need to pretend you're busy or play mind games. You just need to return to you, your path, your mission, your power. Because the moment she realizes she doesn't have access to your attention anymore, that's the moment she starts valuing it. Let me say that again. Scarcity breeds value. What's always available is never desired. Now, I know this may feel hard right now. You might be feeling rejected, confused, powerless. But that pain you're feeling, use it, fuel it, transform it. Because by the end of this video, she won't stop thinking about you. And no, this isn't clickbait. It's exactly what happened when I stopped doing one thing that nearly every man does wrong when she pulls away. You want to know what that is? Good, because that's what we're diving into next. The chase kills, so she pulls away. And what do most men do? They chase. They double text. They overthink every word. They check her status. They like her photos just to remind her they exist. They think effort equals interest. That persistence equals passion. But here's the truth that hits hard. Every time you chase, you lower your value. Let me ask you something. When's the last time you deeply missed someone who was constantly available? Exactly. But when someone disappears without explanation, without drama, without begging, they stick in your mind. That's the power of detachment. Here's the Stoic principle. Desperation repels. Chasing is rooted in fear. Fear of loss. Fear of rejection. Fear of being alone. But guess what? Fear is not attractive. It signals to her that you believe she's better than you, that you've already lost. And that mindset. Let me tell you a short story. There was a guy named Elijah. He met this woman at a party, smart, stunning, magnetic. They hit it off, texted for a week straight. Then suddenly, she stopped replying. He panicked. He sent 3 messages over the next 2 days. No reply. Then he called her. Voicemail. And in that moment, without realizing it, he lost all the power he never even knew he had. Because instead of choosing silence, he chose fear. He broadcasted insecurity. He didn't even give her space to miss him. He filled the gap before it could grow. And that is why she lost interest. Now here's the twist. There was nothing wrong with Elijah. He didn't say anything weird. He didn't make a fatal mistake. He just chased. And when a man chases, he becomes predictable, available, boring. But when a man pulls back with calm detachment, he becomes mysterious, unsettling, desirable. You have to understand this. Attraction isn't built through effort. It's built through tension. The moment you try to force connection, you kill the spark. Because it's not what you say, it's how centered you are while saying nothing. So instead of texting, instead of chasing, instead of asking her, "What's wrong?" or "Did I do something?" you disappear. Not to punish her, not to manipulate, but to protect your dignity. You return to yourself, your path, your mission. That's what makes a woman feel your absence. The quiet confidence of a man who doesn't need validation, who doesn't beg, who doesn't break. So here's what you need to remember. If she pulls away, let her. That's not your cue to prove yourself. It's your cue to evolve. Chasing tells her, "You have power over me." Silence tells her, "I have power over myself." And guess which one she misses more? Exactly. Coming up next, I'll show you how to use that silence to create longing, real emotional tension in her mind. Not through tricks, but through presence, through purpose, through Stoic transformation. Stay with me, because the real shift starts in the silence. The vanishing power. Silence creates longing. Silence is uncomfortable. That's why most men break it too quickly. They can't stand the tension. They need closure. They want to feel seen. But here's the paradox. The more you speak when she pulls away, the less she hears you. But the moment you go silent, she starts listening. Not with her ears, with her imagination. Because silence, it's a blank canvas. And she'll start painting stories to fill the space you left behind. Why did he stop texting? Is he over me? Did he meet someone else? That's when the longing begins. You see, the human brain hates unfinished stories. It craves resolution. And when you walk away calmly, with no closure, no drama, no explanation, you leave her in emotional limbo. That space, that void you leave behind becomes louder than any words you could have spoken. Let me tell you what Mark did. You remember him from earlier? Ghosted by a woman he really liked, but instead of panicking, he vanished. Quietly, no passive-aggressive memes, no just checking in messages, no reaction at all. He simply redirected his attention back to the gym, back to his career, back to his mission. He didn't pretend to move on. He actually did. And guess what? 2 weeks later, she texted him, "Hey, been thinking about you." Weird, right? Not weird at all. Predictable, because Mark gave her space to feel something. Here's what you need to know. Longing doesn't come from presence. It comes from absence. When you're always available, you become background noise. But when you disappear calmly, without resentment, you become a question she needs to answer. Stoics understand this. They don't fill every silence. They don't need to be heard. They value peace over attention. And that energy? It's magnetic. But here's the key. Your silence has to be authentic. It can't be strategic silence wrapped in anxiety. It has to come from real detachment. You're not pulling back to punish her. You're pulling back because you're prioritizing you. And ironically, because women don't miss men who try harder. They miss the men who level up in their absence. Let me say that again. She won't miss the man who begged. She'll miss the man who disappeared and became someone she no longer has access to. That's the vanishing power. You don't need to argue. You don't need to win her over. You don't even need closure. You need focus, stillness, discipline. And here's the twist. When you fully accept the possibility that she may never come back, that's when you become unforgettable. Because now, she's not just thinking about you. She's thinking about what she lost. And you're too busy becoming someone better. So next time you feel the urge to text her, pause, breathe, and remember, the silence says more than words ever could. Coming up next, I'll show you exactly how to use that silence to fuel transformation and how to make her regret ever pulling away. We're just getting started. Become unforgettable. You've pulled back. You've gone silent. Now comes the part most men skip. You evolve. This is the secret weapon. It's not just about making her miss you. It's about becoming the kind of man she can't forget, because you no longer need her to remember you. And the truth is, most guys go silent, but they don't grow. They just wait. They wait for a text. They wait for her to notice. They check her stories. They wonder. They pause their life hoping she reaches out. But that's not stoic silence. That's emotional limbo. If you want to become unforgettable, then silence isn't your escape. It's your battleground. This is where you sharpen yourself. The moment you walk away is the moment you walk towards something better. That's when you hit the gym harder. You study deeper. You earn more. You build. Because when a woman realizes that your world didn't collapse without her, that you're doing better, that she left, and instead of falling apart, you upgraded, that's when the regret starts to creep in. That's when she starts remembering you differently. Let's go back to Mark for a second. You remember ghosted, didn't react, pulled away? Here's what he did during those silent weeks. He fixed his sleep schedule, started journaling, read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, took control of his diet, started a passion project, even started posting less, but when he did, it showed progress, peace, and quiet confidence. And she noticed. That's the thing about women. They may not say anything at first, but they're always watching, observing, and when they see you've transformed without them, that's when it hits them where it hurts. Not because you're showing off, but because you became something rare. A man who moved on and leveled up at the same time. She expected tears. You gave her distance. She expected longing. You gave her evolution. That's unforgettable. And here's something powerful. You don't do this to get her back. You do this to get yourself back. Because the version of you that needed her validation, he's gone. He served his purpose. Now, you're walking into a stronger, calmer, clearer chapter. This is what Stoicism is about. You don't control her feelings. You control your response, your energy, your direction. And that unshakable calm, it's magnetic. It doesn't beg for attention. It commands it. So when she finally reaches out, and trust me, if she ever felt something real, she will. You're no longer the same man. And that contrast? It stings in all the right places. Here's what most women will never admit. They don't regret leaving the man who begged. They regret losing the man who walked away without looking back and became untouchable. That's what you're becoming now. So keep building, keep rising, keep your silence sacred, because one day she'll see you again. Maybe on her feed, maybe in person, maybe through someone else's story. And in that moment, he became the version of himself I never believed he would. And that thought, that's what will keep her up at night. In the next part, I'll show you exactly how to handle the moment she finally comes back and how to respond without ever giving away your power again. You're almost at the peak. The shift: power, self-worth, and magnetic confidence. You stopped chasing. You let go of the need to prove your worth. And something shifted. Suddenly, the silence didn't scare you. It empowered you. You started focusing on your life again. Your goals, your health, your peace. And guess what? She noticed. Because women aren't drawn to men who beg for attention. They're drawn to men who command it without trying. Not with loud words, not with showy gifts, but with presence, with energy, with self-worth that doesn't seek approval. You see, when you know your value, you stop asking if you're enough for someone. Instead, you ask, are they even right for me? That's the shift, from neediness to selectiveness. And it's magnetic. Now she's wondering why you're not chasing, why you're not texting first, why you seem so. Here's the truth. You're just finally focused on you. And that's not arrogance. It's alignment. Because when your world doesn't revolve around her, you become the kind of man she wants to orbit. Let's paint a picture. Before, you'd wait by your phone. Now, it's on Do Not Disturb. Before, you canceled your plans hoping to see her. Now, your calendar is full with things that light you up. Before, your happiness depended on her response. Now, your joy is self-generated, and she feels the difference. She sees the glow. She hears the silence. And she wonders, did I lose him? 3. But here's what makes it powerful. You didn't cut her off. You didn't beg. You didn't explain. You just elevated. Quietly, powerfully. And that shift speaks louder than any paragraph you could send. Women feel it, not just in your words, but in your energy. That unshakable vibe of a man who knows he's whole with or without her. And that's when longing sets in. That's when the silence becomes deafening, not for you, but for her. Because nothing is more attractive than a man who doesn't need validation to feel valuable. Let me repeat that. Nothing is more attractive than a man who doesn't need validation to feel valuable. Now you've become a mirror, not a follower, not a pleaser, a reflection of what she could lose. And in that space, she starts to chase. She starts to wonder. She starts to respect you again. Because deep down, she never stopped wanting your attention. She just needed to see that you could live without hers. You gave her the gift of missing you, of longing, of reflection. And in doing so, you gave yourself something even greater: power, peace, and the kind of confidence no one can take from you. That's the shift. And once you make it, you'll never go back. Not to chasing, not to overthinking, not to giving your power away. Because the moment you chose yourself, she started seeing you differently, not as the man who waited, but as the man she now has to earn. And that changes everything. Here's something most people won't tell you. You don't actually need to be her type for her to miss you. You just need to be the man she can't control. Yeah, I said it. It's not about your looks, your money, or your status. Those things help, sure, but the moment she realizes she can't predict you, can't manipulate your emotions, can't throw you off your path, that's when you become unforgettable. The problem is, too many guys hand over their self-worth for attention. They confuse presence with pressure. Here's the truth: if you're always available, you're forgettable. But the guy who walks away calm, clear, unbothered, he's the one she dreams about at 2 a.m. Disagree? Cool. Drop it in the comments. Let's talk. You want the real twist? It was never just about making her miss you. It's about becoming the kind of man she can't afford to lose in the first place. See, women don't miss boys who beg or chase. They miss men who walk away without a word and never look back. That's the quiet power you've been ignoring. If this hit home, drop a comment below saying, "Stoic mode activated. I read every single one." And if you're serious about leveling up, hit that subscribe button right now. Because next week, I'm revealing how to make her regret losing you without saying a word. Until then, stay calm, stay powerful, stay stoic. She's not ignoring you.